Hello there, my very good friends, and a warm welcoming good afternoons to you all. On this video, we're going to talk about the major WWE name returning to the company very soon indeed. We're going to talk another return to WWE that might not be so certain after all. We've got an update on TNA's situation after a very successful Hard to Kill pay-per-view, and on top of all of that, we're going to talk about the young NXT prospect who has unfortunately suffered a very serious injury. I'm Andy, this is Mike Raffone, and the stories on this could create something of a shake-up on the WWE roster. And we're going to begin with the biggest one of them all, one of the biggest bloody buggers in the wrestling business in general. Physically, he's a big bugger. Brock Lesnar. He's coming back soon. This is according to Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer Daily Update column. No further details beyond that, just he's back soon. So there you go. Now, understandably, it's the Royal Rumble next week, and a lot of people will go, hey, that's where you do returns, that's where you do debuts, all of that stuff. That'll lead to speculative minds, maybe saying Brock's going to be in the Rumble. That's not been confirmed or anything like that yet, but he'd be a pretty good surprise entrant considering we haven't seen him since last August. His last match, of course, came against Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam that month. Cody won. Brock reportedly went into business for himself a little bit at the end in holding Cody's hand up and showing respect and all of that. He went into business for himself, but in a good way. In a good way. It was a fun moment, off script, all that stuff. He really put Cody over strongly throughout that rivalry. I mean, I know the first two matches had the kind of dodgy finishes, but that was by design, and it was quite good and effective. Cody went 2-1 against Brock throughout that rivalry, and Brock's only win was a referee stoppage. So Brock Lesnar putting people over in the year 2023. Is he going to do the same in 2024? Are WWE going to use him to elevate people like they did with Cody? Are they going to maybe bring up some younger talent? Are they maybe going to run him against Gunther at WrestleMania? That's been speculated a lot. That would be a pretty significant shake-up indeed. Or is Triple H going to revert to his father-in-law and then have Lesnar win the world title somehow? Let's be honest, Brock is a perennial contender in this company. When he's around, his name is going to be in the conversation of people who could win big things. Understandably so. He's one of their bigger stars. So we'll see what happens, but I'm optimistic of this. I'm a Brock Lesnar guy. I think he's absolutely sensational. Even when he held the world title and wasn't on TV a lot, I still enjoyed him when everyone else hated him. So, hey, let us know what you think, however, down in the comments section below. Are you excited about a Brock return? What do you want to see him do? And what don't you want to see him do critically? Sound off in the comments section below. Looking forward to reading your ideas. Now, let's talk about another potential WWE return that might not be so certain after all. Recent weeks, we've been talking a lot about Trinity, who is, of course, the former Naomi from WWE. She's been over in Impact, TNA, killing it for the past year or so. She left WWE in 2022. Of course, ended up in TNA. She was the Knockouts champion. She was undefeated all the way through to the Hard to Kill pay-per-view. Almost forgot its name, even though I sat and watched the blooming thing. She was undefeated all the way through to that pay-per-view last weekend when she was finally beaten and dethroned by Jordan Grace. Interesting stuff there with Mercedes Moné and Bayley in the crowd supporting their friend. You love to see it. We are far removed from the days of the McAllisters going and one of them getting themselves fired. Thank goodness, that was awful. But yeah, a little update on Naomi. She worked yesterday's television tapings for TNA as well. Those were titled Snake Eyes. But beyond that, she actually has several more dates lined up with TNA as well. This is according to PW Insider's Mike Johnson. So, if she has several more dates beyond that show, that may prevent her from potentially returning in the Royal Rumble. It had previously been reported that her contract was up in January. Maybe that's still the case. Maybe those dates are in January. I don't know. But yeah, maybe a bit of doubt hanging over that one for now. So we'll see what transpires here. I do believe that we will see Trinity end up back in WWE once her contract expires, once she has worked these dates, once she has fulfilled all her obligations. I'm not going to spoil anything that happened on those television tapings as far as results go, and anything regarding Trinity. You can find that yourself if you want to go exploring on the internet after you've watched this video here. But yeah, like, She left WWE because Vince was a creative issue, and Johnny Ace and all of those crusty old dinosaurs. Well, both of those people are pretty much gone from the company now. You'd imagine that when she comes back, WWE will want to give her something good, something big, some kind of push, to go, hey, Naomi, guess what? It's different now, and here's why. Here's you in a really cool story. That would be nice to see, because she's an extremely talented human being, and she's kind of proved that over in TNA during her run there. So yeah, I thought her losing the belt to Jordynne Grace at the weekend was kind of telling. Maybe they will use Naomi to put people, or Trinity as she is in TNA, maybe they'll use her to put some people over on the way out, the traditional wrestling thing, the way it's always been in this business. That'd be fun to see, but hey, maybe she'll be back in WWE soon. Certainly be a significant shake-up for the women's division as a whole. And it still comes at a time as well when Mercedes' future is far from certain. The signs at the moment might be pointing towards AEW, but I wouldn't rule out WWE completely either. She obviously has loads of friends there, and the old man is gone, which no doubt helps a lot when creative frustrations were one of the reasons that you decided to bail the first time. So very exciting time for the WWE talent roster in general in terms of people coming in. Maybe some people leaving. We've reported on multiple contracts that are up this year. We've talked about that. Maybe some people stretching their wings, trying something new. Talent movement is ultimately positive in pro wrestling, and it's a crazy season at the moment. I'm sure there's going to be more big stuff to cover soon. What are we talking about next? We're sticking with TNA for a little bit because, my goodness, they're in a good place right now. Hard to Kill went down this past weekend, and it was a huge business success. This was the pay-per-view, of course, where Impact Wrestling formally rebranded back to its old name, TNA. All of that stuff. They announced it last year. Everyone was fired up and excited. Scott D'Amore was very excited when he did the announcement. And it was a big success business-wise. PW Insider's Mike Johnson reporting that on top of this being the highest TNA attendance in many years, Hard to Kill also accrued TNA's best live gate in around a decade. That's in terms of the money generated through ticket sales. That marks it as an objective business success. You can't argue with that, setting benchmarks that have been in place for several years. Now, in a separate report, it's noted as well that the Snake Eyes TV tapings that followed Hard to Kill, that I mentioned briefly there earlier, they were a huge success as well. In fact, this was apparently the best live gate for a TV event in TNA history. And this company's been around for like 20 years, so that's just super impressive across the board. And now, following these successes and following Hard to Kill, TNA's backstage morale is said to be through the roof. And that's a direct quote. Of course, there was a report after the TNA announcement last year that morale was up. Now it's really up. So that's good to hear indeed. Love to hear people just going to work and enjoying themselves. How can you hate on that? Now, Mike Johnson notes in his report that the Josh Alexander versus Will Ospreay match, which is their second in TNA, from the Snake Eyes tapings, is drawing rave reviews as well. I'm not going to tell you the result of that one. If you want the spoilers, they are out there somewhere. But that will air on the Thursday show, Impact, sometime in the next few weeks. Definitely going to be worth checking out, because that's two of the absolute best right there, and I'm sure the match was absolutely killer. Now, with regards to Kazuchika Okada, who was on these tapings, his appearance has been described as something of a healing moment after his previous mismanagement by TNA when he was there the last time, all those years ago, and they booked him like ass and he was like a little sidekick. It was rubbish. But after wrestling at the tapings, he worked a six-man tag with the Motor City Machine Guns. Okada got on the microphone, he put the company over and he pointed to the sign, and yeah, seems like a mending of the fences there for sure. You love to see that. So yeah, things going well in TNA. We have our ups and downs video from the pay-per-view. If you missed it, it's on the channel. Check that out. Simon Miller running through everything that happened on the show. But let me know as well what you thought of Hard to Kill if you watched it. Your favourite match, your favourite moments. Nick Nemeth debuted, of course. The former Dana Brooke, she was there as well. So It'll be interesting to see if this truly is the dawn of a new era for the company and where they head to from here. Now, we're going to close on rubbish news. Why did I leave this till last? What a terrible note to close on. Cora Jade has torn her ACL, which means she is going to be out for a long time. She's obviously one of NXT's most pushed young prospects. She only returned to television at the Deadline special last month. And after competing on a house show in Dade City, she was wrestling Lyra Valkyria. The match had to be stopped because Jade suffered a knee injury. We've been waiting for an update on this, and now, according to Dave Meltzer, it's a torn ACL. Now, this very serious injury usually comes with like a 9-month recovery time, but these things are extremely variable. Some people might be like Lazarus and come back in 6 months. Some people may be out for a year or even longer. They vary from injury to injury, so obviously you hope that the one Cora Jade has is not as bad as those crazy ones, but they're all bad, obviously. So best wishes to her in her recovery. Look, she's very young. She's in her early 20s. If there's any positive side to this at all, it's that she has years and years and decades of her career left. So, plenty of time to recover for her. I'm sure there won't be any rush to bring her back. Just take it easy and make sure that she fully heals, she fully recovers, so that when she does come back, she's not running the risk of doing it again, basically. It'll derail her for a little while, but obviously you hope that that isn't the case long term. So, very prominent fixture in the NXT Women's Division. I think she'd have probably been amongst the leading candidates to appear in the Royal Rumble as far as NXT wrestlers go. She's very, very prominent down there, very, very well pushed and everything else. So, best wishes to her. It's a horrible injury to have to go through. Highlights the dangers of pro wrestling. Like the slightest little tweak, a very minor accident can just devastate your knee. It's an inherently dangerous sport. These are the things that can unfortunately happen, and yeah, we wish her well on her recovery. But hey, thank you for joining me for this news video right here. It's a busy day, as it always is on a Tuesday, but Raw Ups and Downs is there. The morning news video is there, where we talk about a bunch of other interesting stories, including the WWE star, the ex-WWE star, proving a major difference maker outside the company. Check all that stuff out. Up in Andy, and I'll see you later.